Welcome to the Love All Tennis channel. Today we're going to discuss some of the craziest on-court tennis arguments. Kindly subscribe and enjoy the video. Forget about breaking a racket, that's not so horrible. These dudes and dudettes are getting nasty, giving out abuse and getting aggressive with officials, fellow players, and even the fans. Here are the 10 times tennis players became nasty on the court. Some of these clips contain aggressive, even violent, sequences and a lot of languages. The worst of the English language has been bleeped out, but some may still be audible. And beware if you can read lips. Native Spanish, French, and German speakers should cover their ears as well. I'm not a linguist, but I'm quite confident what's being said isn't polite. Number 10. Rafael Nadal versus chair umpire and referee. Because Tomas Berdych and Rafael Nadal had some history on the tennis court, this match was intriguing even before it began. Things began to boil over when the umpire made contentious calls. Berdych appeared to be about to lose his cool and spit the dummy out after a very late overrule from the chair, but instead he decided to fight the call. Because Hawkeye revealed the ball was in by millimeters, the umpire awarded the point to Berdych rather than requiring a review. Nadal was furious. Not only had he stopped playing, but he had also returned the ball to the court. Berdych should have received the point only if his shot was determined to be non-returnable. It's impossible to say a ball is non-returnable when it's been returned. Even after reading the rulebook, it is difficult to determine what call the umpire and, indeed, the match referee was making. The only choice, given that Nadal had returned the ball, was to replay the point. It's no surprise he went insane. Number 9. Serena Williams versus chair umpire, US Open 2011. Serena Williams is a huge personality who refuses to take crap from anyone, despite the fact that she enjoys dishing it out. Serena Williams was overcome with emotions during the 2011 US Open final. She returned to the game in time for the Flushing Meadows tournament after missing a year due to injury and health issues. Serena was up against Sam Stosur in the final and swiftly found herself a set down. Serena celebrated a stunning forehand winner as she faced yet another break point. The issue was that she was far too ready to rejoice. Things quickly went sour when she learned that Stosur had been awarded the point as a result of the early celebration. Williams not only went after the chair umpire once, but twice. Williams was eventually fined $2,000 for her outburst. Number 8. John McEnroe versus chair umpire. This is most likely the most famous tennis court brawl in history. McEnroe has gone insane on the court numerous times, and it appeared at times that he was simply playing to the crowd, or maybe trying to distract his opponent. I'm sure you already know what he'll say. Hugh Laurie immortalized this outburst at Wimbledon in 1981 in British comedy skits, and it will go down in history as one of the greatest on-court spats ever. Even while it was not the most violent or unpleasant spat, McEnroe's evident disdain for the umpire stunned the Wimbledon crowd. In my opinion, the umpire's pleasant and upper-class voice says it all. I'm going to award a point against you, Mr. McEnroe. Brilliant. Number 7. Jimmy Connors versus chair umpire. Jimmy Connors was always a colorful character on the field, but on his 39th birthday at Flushing Meadows, emotions were running high. The aged Connors knew he needed things to go his way if he wanted to win against Aaron Crickston, who was only 24 years old. The issue is that not everything went his way, and during a first-set tiebreaker, the chair umpire overruled a call that he definitely shouldn't have. Then it began. Connors, a 5-time US Open champion, unleashed a barrage of expletives on the umpire, letting him know just how he felt. However, it was not over there. Connors eventually won in 5 sets and made sure the umpire knew how he felt about him for the rest of the tournament. Number 6. Jeff Tarango versus Wimbledon. Jeff Tarango had to be having a horrible day for this to happen. Back in 1995, at the All England Club, the American abruptly interrupted his tournament by storming off the court in the middle of a match. Starting with a contested call, things escalated to the point where Tarango wanted to speak with an umpire supervisor, who was unable to calm the situation down sufficiently. Tarango had had enough of the court after receiving a code infraction for saying umpire Bruno Rebu was corrupt. Mr. Tarango never spoke to Rebu again, but his wife waited outside the changing area and slapped him as he exited. Tarango later stated in interviews that he had heard reports about French umpire Rebu being favorable to some players, though this was never substantiated, and Rebu remained to work as an umpire for 6 years after the tournament. Number 5. Lopez Monaco versus Paez Butapi. It's an age-old approach in any sport to try to psych out your opponent on the court, field, ice. but you seldom see it work. Yes, players get inside each other's thoughts and performance can suffer as a result, but on this particular day, Feliciano Lopez and Juan Monaco displayed genuine emotion. Leander Paez, who has been engaged in several fights, and his doubles partner, Mahesh Bhupathi, both from India, pushed the Spanish-speaking pair too far. Both teams looked to make concerted attempts to hit the ball directly at one of their opponents before additional verbal sparring culminated to a brawl near the net. In the end, it worked, and the Indians won in straight sets, demonstrating that tennis isn't necessarily played on the court. It can also be played in the mind. Number 4. Serena Williams versus line judge, US Open 2009. Serena Williams had previously made the list for a relatively lighthearted outburst against the chair umpire in the 2011 US Open, but this outburst was far more serious. Serena felt there was a chance the line judge was mistaken when she was penalized for a foot fault in the 2009 US Open, so she gently inquired if that was the case. Serena threatened to push a tennis ball down her throat, and I mean that kindly. With the match tied at match point against Serena, the code violation for profane and abusive language threatening an official meant Serena lost the match without having to face the match point. Number 3. Mikhail Yuzny versus Mikhail Yuzny. Nicholas Almagro needed to hold serve to upset Mikhail Yuzny in the 2008 Sony Ericsson Open in Miami after the match was deadlocked at 1 set apiece. Yuzny felt he was in a good position after fighting his way to a match-saving break point. A long and stressful rally occurred, but it was cut short when Yuzny made an unforced error and the ball went into the net. His reaction was incredible. Whereas most players can keep their cool, those who need to vent their rage usually break the racket on the floor, but not Yuzny. He took it out on himself, and the racket triumphed. With blood streaming from Yuzny's head, a medical timeout was requested, and the game was stopped at deuce, with Almagro still needing to serve to win the match. Whether it was because of the delay or because the many smashes to the head just inspired Yuzny, the Russian rallied back and won the match, advancing to the round of 16. Number 2. Robert Kendrick versus Leander Paez. Putting all of the top characters on the same court was a brilliant concept. It demonstrated that tennis was exciting, but it also indicated that egos will clash. Leander Paez has a long career in tennis, particularly in doubles. He is known for winding up his opponents, and it worked again in July 2009, this time with Robert Kendrick and his entire team. There was probably a lot of back and forth prior, but the first significant sightings comes when Paez smashes a volley into Kendrick's face. As a result of such move, both team managers and John McEnroe were on the same side of the court, ready to battle. Kendrick took a different approach, waiting to pounce. Later in the game, he smacked his serve wildly off aim and straight towards Paez, resulting in yet another managerial clash. Chuck Adams, Kendrick's manager, was eventually removed from the ring, but not before opposition manager Murphy Jensen and team member Olga Puchkova became involved. Number 1. McEnroe versus Connors. On this tennis court, there is no love lost between John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors. Their most heated argument occurred not in a Grand Slam final, but in a 1982 exhibition match in Chicago. While most expected the two Americans to play a lighthearted but competitive match, it quickly became evident that this was more than just a friendly exhibition for both of them. A few back-and-forth moments led to this incredible scene in which Connors crossed the net and met McEnroe face-to-face. McEnroe appeared composed, then shoved Connors away before the officials intervened. After nearly 5 hours of tennis, Connors won the match in 5 sets. If you want to watch more amazing videos like this, kindly subscribe and click the like button to become part of our family.